Hi everyone. Have you ever been experienced the fear of heights called acrophobia in your life? Maybe you know someone that is affected and wants to know about the solution. Acrophobia is a serious problem, serious problem that affects live persons, and however, there is two solutions to overcome it. The first solution is talk therapy. The second solution is the virtual cure. Today I'm gonna address acrophobia. I will define the problem, give some examples, and talk about the two solutions. Acrophobia is often mistaken by the fear of fall. However, it affects 23,542,500 people according to the fact and statistic behind our most common phobias 2015. Let's define the problem. The author of the Psychology of Rational Fear 2015 defined acrophobia as unrealistic fear of heights that triggers one in different situations. For example, such as during a high pitch, high floor of building, chair, elevator, balcony. Also, they mentioned that it is the most relevant phobias of all phobias. It leads to anxiety, and it may trigger also panic attack during fear situation. Acrophobia ignition. What ignites or the ignition of the acrophobia? Also, they declare that the origin of phobia is not related to traumatic experience, but also is linked to abnormalities of or imbalance control and vision perception of movement, as well as sensitivity to bodily symptoms and space and movement discomfort. For example, vertigo height. It's a postural control loss that is ignited when the distance between the body and the stationary object is very large. This creates a conflict between the detection signal of the vestibular and the somatosensory receptors, resulting in a loss of balance and to reactivate vision control. Researchers also found that the non-acrophobia people do poor job than non-phobic people involved in postural control and cognitive activities. The psychology of rational fear 2015. Let's talk now about the impact of the problem. One phobia in particular affects an estimated between 17 and 21 million US. The fact and the statistics behind our most common phobias 2015. Who is affected? Everyone could be affected, and among different people in different situations. For example, the author in the Psychology of Fear or of Irrational Fears 2015 gives some examples, especially for a construction worker that is assigned to work on a high floor. Also, another example is of using or making simple tests, for example, changing the light bulb while standing in a ladder. Another example is being able to drive because of high bridge or taking an airplane. Another detrimental effect also affects the patient when they want to visit the doctor's office on a high floor. Now that you have a good understanding of the problem and its impact, let's talk about the suggested solution. First, you have to know which doctor you have to go or visit. So, consult the doctor. Komaroff 2015 described the only qualified person to consult is the mental health professionals. During the visit of your doctor, you need to know these steps. First of all, you have to describe your phobias, problem, and trauma. Second, you have to discuss your reaction to it. And finally, you have to describe what you did to avoid your fear. The first solution is the talk therapy. Komaroff 2015 also mentioned that the most common used therapy is talk therapy, that is called also cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. That is the technique used in desensitization and exposure. The exposure techniques also involve increasingly the patient to her or his fear. First, but sometimes we need to use prescription or some anti-anxiety prescription medicine and talk therapy as a combination for short term. Anyway, for therapy, it's very helpful, especially if it's used as a proper treatment. The second solution is cure, the virtual cure. I have a scenario here of Winerman, 2005 narrative story about a 32-year-old attorney called Jones. Her taking her flights had been always painful for her in the past years, but she is managed to overcome her fear by taking the dose of Benadryl that helped her to alleviate this problem, or her panic, she said. But 3 years ago, her solution didn't work very well for her, especially when she insisted her husband to drop her or to leave her in Miami during the two-leg trip between her near home Washington D.C. to Argentina. Also, she insisted her husband she canceled her husband tickets to Cancun and also to a reservation to Ritz-Carlton. Now she realized that this is not affecting herself, but also she's affecting her marriage. Now she understands that she has to look for a new solution, and she adopted a new way or a technique of therapy that uses virtual cure by turning to a doctor called Doctor Curt Buermeyer. Buermeyer and his colleague Keith Saylor use a classical technique with the help of high technology, using a computer, 3D computer graphics, and to simulate the real-world environment. Then Jones, she arranged to a visit to the doctor's office and use a virtual tool as a flight to virtual technique, using the virtual flight with the help of a video screen, using a helmet and a vibrating chair. This technique or this tool is very helpful, especially with the help of the studies that in the past years that shown that this technique is very important, that help overcome the fear. And especially researchers recently they try to focus to make this experience more realistic. Now it is time to end this speech. We have talked today about acrophobia, its impact, and the solutions as talk therapy and virtual cure. And I gave some solutions, real solutions, by giving examples, and especially the example of Jones, that how she managed to her fears by different ways, or acrophobia fear by different ways. I'm gonna leave you today with this video and from YouTube, from DigInfo, and I want you to enjoy the video and have a good day. Bye.
Emotion. This makes users really feel as if they are inside the CG world, so they can fully experience a virtual reality.
こちら見ていただくとビルの中で火災が起こっておりまして、ここから逃げないといけないので、ビルの、外側に出てですね、ヘリを歩いていくと。でその時にですね、ビル非常に高所なので下を向くとこう下が見えて非常に怖いんですけど、それを自分がまさにその場所にいるような感じで、体感ができるコンテンツになっています。左右それぞれに 人間の目っていうのは視差のある情報を見てるわけですけれども、左目と右目それぞれに別々の映像を入れまして、中で見てる被験者さんはですね、立体に映像が見えてるんですね。なので非常に没入感が高く見れるのと、頭の動き、人間がどこを見てるかっていうのを取らないといけないので、その動きを、別のまた機材があるんですけども、そちらでトラッキングをしてます。で最終的にコンテンツとして全てを統合しているのが、こちらのビアトゥールズっていうソフトが、全てを統合しているという感じです。ヘッドマウントディスプレイとしては他社に比べて多少大きかったり、あるいは多少重量がありますので、その辺の軽量化を図るっていうところと、あとはその業界的にフル HD の方向に向かってますので、解像度もより一層高めていこうかなと、いろいろとその辺を考えています。
Crescent also suggests using this system in practical ways, such as vehicle testing and factory work simulation. DigInfo News.